Rivalry Saturday, 6:30 at the Houch. We're excited for the opportunity to play against a really good team. I stand by what I said earlier in the week, that I really do believe that Marshall is certainly at the top of our conference in terms of the talent of their players. And they're playing fast. They're playing hard on film. We've got to be, at our freshest, at our optimal level to play, and so we've made some decisions coming off a grueling 4-game stretch, 3 of which were on the road, to get our players back and get them healthy, get them fresh, get them ready to go explode on Saturday night, 6:30, and we got to. They have too many weapons offensively. Brady, King, Davis, Green. These are all guys that are explosive with their legs, explosive catching the ball vertically through the air, and then explosive with their arm talent with Green. So we have to be at our best. We have to be fresh. We have to play fast, and we cannot allow them to make the big plays that have really kind of been their springboard offensively. Their defense is really good, great. They bring about a lot of pressure. I think that Malik Gant, I would say he's the best player in Conference USA that I've seen on tape this year. And then not to mention Hancock is a guy that just does everything the right way, and he happens to be 6'2" with arm length and 236 pounds at the will linebacker position. So they got great players. You can tell that they are a confident team right now, and we're excited for this opportunity. And we're even more excited to play in front of our home crowd finally, coming off a good win. But right now we know that this is a completely new season. The preseason's behind us, and now it's on to Marshall. Blackout, 6:30. If you're anywhere within 3 hours, be here. We need every one of you. Our players want to play in front of a great crowd, and they want to see everybody blacked out just like we are, and we're excited to play a great football game against a rival.
How have your quarterbacks looked this week?
Really good. I've been very impressed with the jump that Stephen Duncan has taken from, kind of the ups and downs of the last 2 weeks for him, and he's really kind of asserted himself this week as the guy that wants to go out there and wants to win this game. And David Shanley looked great yesterday in practice. So not going to forget about his abilities and his quick twitch fiber and everything that he brings to the table. So we're gonna play Steven. We're gonna roll with it, and he's got our back. He's earned the trust of our teammates and the coaches, and we're gonna go with Steve.
What did Steve do to earn that job?
He won us a football game in the second half, and that was, we've had opportunities to win games, and as a quarterback, you got the opportunity to make the right decisions, not always the flashy decision, but to make the right decisions that puts your team in the best position to win a football game. And I thought Steve played winning football, championship caliber football, and I think his overall will to bring a victory to his teammates was. You could feel it. It was palpable on the sideline, and I think that's what we need going into this big game.
Do you sense the competition has been even better than, say, even during the offseason? Because offseason was more about Drew, but now you see pretty much all these guys are getting on that field.
Yeah, I'll say, the competition at the quarterback position has been great. The one thing I like about it is it is competitive. It's not combative, at all. And that's a great thing. There's no... nobody's going back and forth. There's no, watching the guy over your shoulder. These guys are worried about their opportunities and then executing the offense when they're out there on the field. Even the competition, if you will, has touched Kivaris. He had by far his best Sunday developmental scrimmage that we call the Topper Bowl on Sunday nights. He played great football, led 2 touchdown drives. And then had a really good week of practice as Davis was kind of nursing his injury earlier in the week. So it's been great for us.
Parker Howell and Mason Brooks continue to be a tandem as well.
Yeah, we had a little scare there on the offensive line that was more of an illness. We finally got some good news on the injury/illness front. There was a point in time this week where those 2 guys were going to be starting at left and right tackle, and then Miles was going to bump inside. Fortunately, we got some good results from an illness that came back, and so we're healthy, at that position. Parker's back and looks great, and Mason Brooks and Parker will platoon at the left tackle position.
Looking at Tyree Brady, what makes him a dangerous receiver?
A combination of strength, size, and speed. We saw him last year on film, and I'll be honest, we wondered why Tyree Brady didn't have 75 catches. I mean, in terms of just saw his ability and thought that he's a guy that the offense should run through. I mean, literally should run through because he is such a unique talent. A couple of our friends that are in the scouting business in the NFL have said that receiver at Marshall's the real deal, and so. At some point in time, they're gonna give that guy the ball 15 times in a game, and I hope it's not here, at Houchin Smith Industry Stadium. We got to do a good job to neutralize that. But he is that type of a talent where if you have him on your team, you want to get him the football and give him a lot of at bats because he is so strong, he is so fast, he runs great routes, and he plays extremely hard. I mean, he was hurt at the end of that NC State game. He hurt his ankle. You could see the play. It wasn't pretty. He was hampered by it. He came back out there and fought because that's who he is as a player. And you saw he was limping considerably at the end of that game on tape. So that also plays into his strengths of just overall toughness.
You mentioned Monday going all out for the bye week. Guys bought into that theme this week?
Yes, yeah. One game season, tough stretch to start the season out, but them knowing that we're going to give them the best possible plan, both physically, getting them ready to be at their freshest level that they've been at since the opener. We've made some decisions to do that, and then also just everybody that has any kind of dings and nicks and bruises. If you're playing at 80%, when that adrenaline hits you, you're at 100%. And then I think as a young football team, young players, you gotta understand college football. You're never going to your body's never going to feel 100% ever. Now, there's a difference. Obviously, if there's injury, and we have the best medical staff that I've been around, and they'll take care of those injuries. But those little nicks, those little bruises, you're never going to feel great. But that great equalizer is the adrenaline and what game day does for you and what the lights will do for us on Saturday night.
A lot of the guys weren't here last year, and some of the guys didn't even play in last year's game. But you feel like they kind of sense that it is a rivalry game. They kind of had that mentality and approach for it.
I think there's no question about that. Even when I got here a year ago, I knew of Middle Tennessee as a rival. I'd actually coached in that game in 2010, and that's an ongoing rival that's been going on through conference changes throughout the years and the decades. This one just makes so much sense because it is another bordering state. We do recruit similar kids in the state of Florida, in Georgia. We recruit, obviously, across in West Virginia and Kentucky. And I think also just the history of the 2014 game. That game, I've said it before, but that game greatly impacted me. I was at Boise State. We were 12-1 going into a conference championship game. Finished out 12-2, and had WKU, the Tops, not beaten Marshall, we wouldn't have had an opportunity to go to the Fiesta Bowl and then ultimately represent the Group of Five and win a Fiesta Bowl. And so that day, as a former coaching alum, if you will, of Western Kentucky, I was as proud as I've ever been to be a Hilltopper, and it obviously was against a really, really good Marshall team in Huntington. And that's that game, I think, really kind of was the exclamation point to the beginning of this rivalry.